Warning. What you're about to hear is a man expressing his own thoughts and opinion. If you don't like what you're watching right now, that's alright. You can close the tab right now and move on. I don't wanna start a drama or anything like that. I'm just sharing my own thoughts and opinion on what film that people usually overhype talent slash. If you are curious then stick around. Let's begin.
Hey everyone, it's me again, Mr. Sirigang Production. We're back with another video. This time, it's not a movie review. Today's video is something I've been holding on to for a while. You can call it a hot take or a controversial opinion video, but I promise, it's coming from a harmless place. I'm gonna be honest, I always wanted to share my personal thoughts and perspective here on this channel, but the main reason why I hesitated because I was worried about getting dogpiled or attacked just because my opinion doesn't match the general hype. But at this point, I feel like it's time for me to finally say what's been sitting on my chest. Just a reminder though, I do not hate the film I'm about to talk about. There are some pretty good films. It's just that I don't really understand the hype around them. Yes, there are also some few films I don't really like, and you know what, that's okay. We're allowed to see things differently. It's just that it gets exhausting when a certain movies are treated like they're beyond criticism. Like having a different opinion automatically make you the bad guy. That's not how art works. So if you're gonna disagree with me, that's fine. You're free to click away or just keep doom scrolling. No pitchfork needed. Let's keep things respectful. But if you're a curious person, if you're open to hearing a different perspective, please stick around. Let's talk about it. Okay, so let's talk about Black Panther. Before anything, no, I don't think it's a bad movie. I don't think I'm racist at all. It's just the movie for me isn't amazing either. I remember watching it with my dad back when we were getting hyped for Infinity War and Endgame. At the time, I thought it was pretty decent. The action was alright, the cinematography was alright, the soundtrack it was good. I mean, I think that was the only memorable part, along with the Kendrick Lamar and SCA, and the team was alright. The characters were okay, the villains were okay. Chadwick Boseman gave a solid performance. Everything was just okay. For me, that's the thing. It really didn't leave a lasting impression. I don't really have any standout scene that stayed with me, aside from a couple of jokes that really doesn't land very well, like the "what are those" moment, and of course the final CGI fight that honestly did not look great. It looked like it came straight out of a PS2 graphic. Now looking back years later, I asked myself, was this movie really worth all the hype? Because to be honest, I don't really remember much of it. It's not a bad movie for me. It's just completely forgettable, like a lot of other MCU films that are enjoyable in the moment, but they just don't stick with you afterward. Again, I respect the cultural impact and I understand why it means a lot of many people. I'm just being honest about my personal experience watching it. Alright, so let's go with number 10, Thor Ragnarok. I'm gonna be honest, the first time I watched it, I thought it was pretty enjoyable, it's fun, it's colorful, it's decent. Some of the jokes actually landed for me, like the moment where Bruce Banner was asking Thor if he's really not the adopted one. The visual have style, some of the cinematography look great, and the pacing keep things moving. But here's where my real opinion comes in. After watching it so many times, the movie doesn't do anything to me. Similar to Black Panther, it didn't really leave a lasting impact. The humor is all over the place. It ends up undercutting the emotional weight of the story. Every time something serious starts to build, there's another joke drops in, and it feels like the movie itself is afraid to slow down or feel anything. Because of that, a lot of potentially meaningful moments just fall flat. Thor's character also feels very different from how he was in earlier film, not in a character growth kind of a way, but in a rewritten for the tone kind of way. That shift just didn't land for me, and the characters from the previous film were removed or thrown aside so casually that it felt very disrespectful to the world that had already been built. Kate Blanchett is an incredible actress, I respect her, and she does what she can with Hela, but I really wish the film let her be genuinely intimidating instead of her giving the same creepy tone as everyone else. Tom Hiddleston, though, he was the standout for me. You can see the evolution in his character and performance. Mark Ruffalo was also good, but this version of Hulk felt a bit too cartoonish compared to the raw, angry, unpredictable Hulk from the 2008 era. Korg and the others, I don't really care about those characters. So, yeah, Thor Ragnarok isn't a bad movie. But the humor is all over the place to the point where it overshadows the story, the tone, and the characters. And for me, it's just bad. It's completely forgettable. Alright, let's move on. When this movie came out, people were really hyping it as one of the best superhero films of all time. And I'll admit, I bought into that hype too. I even went through that phase where I based my personality on Deadpool. You know, acting like that random, funny, edgy guy who doesn't care. But now, looking back at it, it was really cringeworthy. Now, don't get me wrong, the movie is fun, it's energetic, it's self aware, it's directed by Tim Miller, who also did Love, Death, and Robot, and we're not gonna talk about that. The more I rewatch the movie, the more I realize the humor is really just the same thing on loop. The dirty jokes, the sex joke, the meta joke, the pop culture reference repeat. And after a while, it just started to feel so repetitive. What once felt bold and different now feels kind of predictable. Like the novelty is gone. Also, this is gonna be my hot take here, but Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool can get pretty exhausting. The delivery, the non-stop quip, the constant winking at the camera. Sometimes it crosses from funny into trying way too hard. It's just trying way too hard. So yeah, Deadpool is in a bad movie. It's a fun movie to watch, especially the first time, but it's not masterpiece. It just didn't age well. The more I go back to it, the more I feel like the joke has already run its course. Alright, the next stop is the Suicide Squad, and to be completely honest, I did not like this movie. I know there are many people who love this movie, some even call it one of the best superhero films of all time. And if you enjoy it, okay, whatever. But I did not connect with it at all. Similar with Deadpool, the humor in this movie really didn't land for me. In fact, I found it even more obnoxious and over top. I struggle with movies that relies on crude, loud, self-aware humor, and the Suicide Squad just doubled down on that style way hard. Now, I don't think the movie is bad. It definitely has a lot of cool personality, it has its style, and James Gunn really knows how to give the characters some emotional beat. But for me, nothing about this film just feels so original and new. Because let's be honest, I've seen this trope before, and like for example, the raunchy meta humor is literally from Deadpool. The misfit underdog with a heart, that's literally from Guardian of the Galaxy. Now for Evil Dead, well, not Evil Dead, no, what I'm saying is the goofy violence being treated as comedy is like from Evil Dead. So instead of feeling fresh, the movie just felt familiar, and because of that, the emotional moment just didn't really hit hard. They felt kind of forced. The violence didn't shock me. It felt like it was just there for the sake of being outrageous. And the tone constantly bounced between tragedy and wacky joke, which made it hard for me to take anything seriously. And as for the characters, Peacemaker just felt like a loud, less clever version of Deadpool. Bloodsport felt like Deadshot 2.0. King Shark felt like they were trying to recreate Groot's simple but lovable vibe. Ratcatcher and Polka Dot Man had an emotional backstory, and I respect that. But they still didn't leave much of a lasting impression on me. And at the end of the day, the movie just didn't do anything for me. I don't hate it, I just don't get the hype. Okay, so you probably saw this one coming. The next film on this list is James Gunn's Superman, the one that was released just this July. Now, before anyone jump into the comment with "Look at this Spider fan, mad because his universe is gone," let's get something straight. Yes, I am a Snyder fan, proudly, and I still think Man of Steel is a better Superman film than this one. But it doesn't mean I came in here to blindly hate. I actually tried to give this movie a fair shot. I went into thinking that, alright, maybe I'll be surprised. And honestly, my first reaction was that it was pretty laughable, not in a fun way, but it's so bad it might circle around and be entertaining kind of way. But the more I watch it, the more it falls apart for me. Here's my main issue for me. I said this already in the list. I really don't connect with movies that refuse to take themselves seriously, and this movie is basically the approach turned up to 11. The humor is all over the place. The tone is light to the point where nothing has weight. Emotional moments don't land because another joke always interrupt. It has the same MCU style pacing and quipping, and personally, this movie doesn't feel like a Superman movie to me. So let's talk about the characters. David Cornsett is a talented actor. I respect him, but his Superman came off very whiny to me more than just inspiring and hopeful. Not grounded, just kind of unsure of himself in a way that it just didn't work. The Justice Gang, they felt like a background joke machine. They act like a bunch of generic MCU characters. The Daily Planet crew felt alright, but they're not on the same level as how Zack Snyder handled Perry, Lois, and the rest. Now, for Nicholas Holt, he's an excellent actor, but this Lex Luthor just felt very cartoonish instead of intimidating. Rachel Brosnan does a solid job as Lois, but for me, Amy Adam just feels a lot better. Now, for Crypto, I mean, I love dogs, I really love dogs, but Crypto in this movie was just annoying. And for the soundtrack, yeah, I already know what's my criticism for this one. It's completely forgettable. It leans too much on John Williams for the sake of nostalgia instead of building its own identity. Now, for me to describe how I feel about this movie to me felt like what Gunn Superman is what Bumblebee was to Michael Bay Transformers. Both of these movies are treated by their fandom as the real fix to something that didn't need fixing to begin with. And both movies are used as a weapon to put down directors who are just trying to do something more different and ambitious. And because of that, it's really hard for me to look at this film without feeling the fandom more than the film. So, no, I don't like this movie. I hated the movie. It just doesn't speak to me. And you know what? I don't care. Please argue with a wall. So, number 6 on the list would be Bumblebee. I don't think this movie is bad, but I also don't think it's the masterpiece a lot of people make it out to be. The main reason why people overhype this movie too much is because of one thing: the Cybertron opening scene. And yeah, that scene is great. It has all the nostalgia factors. The characters look so G1-ish or whatever. The action is clear. Yeah, old school Transformers. But let's be honest, if we remove that scene away from the movie, it's just a coming of age story that we have seen before. Think of it, it's like E.T., right? And the Iron Giant and Stranger Things and The Edge of 17. It's the same emotional beat, same plot structure, same girl bond with a misunderstood outsider formula. So for me, outside of that Cybertronian moment, the film just doesn't stand out much. The tone is softer, the stake just feels kinda small compared to Michael Bay, and overall the style feels very safe as well compared to Michael Bay Transformers, which at least had identity. Now, for the soundtrack, yeah, it's not good. It's completely forgettable. Dario Marianelli, who did the soundtrack for V for Vendetta, was okay, but it's not as memorable and iconic as Steve Jablonsky's music from the previous Bay film. The only musical moment that hits were the 80s needle drop, and even those felt like they were trying to ride away with Stranger Things nostalgia. But I'm gonna give it credit where it's due. I think Haley Steinfeld did a great job as Charlie, even though her character is basically just from Edge of 17. I love the 80s setting. I also think the ending was heartfelt and solid. So yeah, Bumblebee is a fine movie. It's enjoyable and watchable. But I just don't like it because you know how the fandom weaponized it against Michael Bay. The same way James Gunn's Superman is used against Zack Snyder, Bumblebee get used against Michael Bay, and that's really affect how I interpret both movies. But no, Bumblebee is not really my favorite movie. I still think it's overrated. Michael Bay's Transformers is a better movie, and I can still say Bumblebee is a fun for what it is, even if the hype around it is just way too much. Alright, so the next on the list is The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves. Oh boy, I already know some people are going to be typing in the comment right now or preparing for the pitchfork because this movie has a very passionate fan base, but hear me out. I really wanted to give this movie a chance because I'm a Batman fan. I love the idea of a darker detective focused approach. The visual was great, the atmosphere was also great, the suit was also great, the Batmobile, I love the Batmobile, the cinematography is also great. But the movie itself just didn't click for me. Every time I tried to give it a chance, I keep falling asleep or I keep getting bored. It's not that I can't appreciate a slow burn storytelling. I love slow burn, but this movie just dragged way too much. It felt very exhausting for me to sit through. I'm not sure if it's the pacing or maybe I'm just having a Batman fatigue. But yeah, it felt like a complete chore to watch. Now, for the casting, I think Robert Pattinson did a great job as Batman. He's too edgy, he's too emo, and he nailed the brooding, isolated early stage of the character. But for me, he just doesn't hit the same level as Christian Bale. I'll also talk about the music. I think Michael Giacchino did a great job, but I still think Hans Zimmer's theme for Batman is just a lot better because, you know, Hans Zimmer is just too iconic, and I love his score way too much. Now, the movie also clears some inspiration from David Fincher's films like Seven, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and Zodiac. I respect that approach, but for me, it didn't add a new emotional or thematic layer to make it feel memorable. It felt like it was chasing a mood more than building an impact. The Batman is not a bad movie. It's an okay movie, but it's just really boring. It feels like a complete chore to watch. But hey, at least there's a redeeming quality for this film. This film cures my insomnia. Alright, so number 4 on the list is Transformers 1. So when I first heard that they were gonna make a Transformers movie set entirely on Cybertron, I was excited. I genuinely thought it was going to lean into the tone of the High Mood Studio game, more matured, serious, mystique, and gritty and full weight. But when I watched Transformers 1, I kinda end up being a bit disappointed. But let me be clear, I don't think the movie is bad. The animation is decent, the conflict is interesting, and the voice acting is honestly fine. I don't really get the backlash towards Chris Hemsworth the Optimus or the voice actor for Megatron. They both did a solid job, and it is refreshing to finally have a Transformers movie that takes place on Cybertron instead of Earth. But I'm gonna be honest, the movie just didn't leave a strong impact on me compared to Transformers by Michael Bay. It definitely had that child-friendly tone, and that's alright because it's for children. I can see why many people, like the fans, love it. But personally, I was hoping for something more serious, more mature, something with the mythic heaviness that the High Moon games have. The tone is what I associate with Transformers at its peak, and this movie just wasn't that for me. So yeah, Transformers 1 isn't a bad film. It's just not the Transformers movie for me. Now, for number 3 on the entry is the entire Guardian of the Galaxy trilogy. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. Like I said previously, I am not a fan of these movies. The tone, the style, the humor, the direction, it just doesn't connect with me at all. And you know what? I don't care. I know there are so many people, the majority love this film, and I understand why. They're just so funny, and they have a stronger fan base that really resonates with James Gunn's style that he brings to the table. But I just don't like his style. I don't really vibe with James Gunn filmmaking style, and because of that, I just don't understand it. The trilogy never clicked with me the way it did for others. I don't need to go into some long explanation or debate about it. You probably already know my stand on his work by now. So yeah, no disrespect to the people who love this movie. I just don't like James Gunn as a person and as a character. No explanation, no elaboration, whatever. Alright, so number 2 on the list would be Superman, directed by Richard Donner. I understand why this movie is so beloved. It has that warm, wholesome, nostalgic vibe that a lot of people grew up with, and Christopher Reeve really did embody the idealized image of Superman. He's hopeful, gentle, inspiring. I genuinely respect that. I miss him too. To me, he wasn't just playing Superman, he was Superman for an entire generation. But personally, I always had a trouble connecting with this version of the character. For me, Superman here felt too perfect, too idealized, almost unreachable. Its portrayal built on fairy tale simplicity, which is beautiful for some people, but not everyone like me. And that's where the disconnect happens for me. The movie itself hasn't aged particularly well either. The slapstick humor, the cheesiness, the dated effects, they kind of take me out of it. And the emotional lesson, you can't save everyone, not even someone you love, get undercut where he just reversed time to save Lois anyway. It ended up weakening what could have been one of the film's strongest moments. I still respect the film, I still respect Reeve, I still enjoy the film. I'm not here to tear it down, but I do think people need to stop treating this movie as the ultimate blueprint for a Superman story. There's more to Superman than just being wholesome and smiling in the sky. The character can be more complex, more grounded, more layers without losing the heart, just like what Zack Snyder did with Superman. And honestly, the way this movie is treated as the one and only correct version is exactly why the new Superman adaptation struggled to move forward. So finally at number 1, The Avengers, directed by Joss Whedon. Alright, so I gotta admit, when I first watched this movie, I genuinely thought it was the peak of superhero cinema. The movie felt very exciting to watch, it felt fresh and big. The characters really bounced off each other naturally, the action was fun, the humor is great, and that Alan Silvestri team was iconic. It felt like the perfect moment. The one where the MCU has officially became huge, even though Iron Man was the one who jumpstarted the whole universe. It was the Avengers that made the MCU into a cultural phenomenon. But with time, perspective hits. As the year passed, and especially after everything we learned about Joss Whedon himself, the movie started to age in a different way. The tone is very safe, the cinematography looks so flat, the visuals aren't as striking as I once thought, and the dialogue aged into something that often felt too creepy, too self-aware, almost like it's afraid to let a serious moment actually breathe. Scenes that were supposed to be intense or emotional get undercut by jokes. The characters felt like they always trying to be clever instead of being human. And Loki, who could have been a genuinely terrifying villain, ended up being treated more like a punchline than an actual villain. The whole movie ends up feeling less cinematic and more like a well-produced TV episode, which makes sense considering Joss Whedon did Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And that's the thing. The movie isn't bad. It's still a fun movie regardless. It still has its place in film history. But calling it a masterpiece feels like a nostalgia doing heavy lifting. Just because a movie made $1 billion and everyone quoted it for a year doesn't automatically mean it's one of the greatest. Sometimes something is popular because it's safe, familiar, and easy to digest. That's exactly what the movie is made for. Okay, that's all for today. I already know there are people typing angrily right now, sharpening their pitchfork, ready to crucify me in the comment section. But you know what? I don't care. At the end of the day, these are just my opinions. I didn't attack anyone. I didn't insult anybody, identity, or belief. I didn't admit that I was a predator or whatever. I just expressed how I see these movies instead of suppressing it like most people do because they're scared of getting judged. You know what? That's the point. You don't have to agree with me. You're not supposed to. We're individuals. We all connect to different things in a different way. That's what makes talking about film actually interesting. So, if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really means a lot. Let me know your thoughts below. Respectfully, of course. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, stay fresh, and stay in school. Please finish your college or whatever.